going on, guys? Alex here with 814 EDC, and today I'm ready to do my full review on the Bridgeport Knife Company 827 FL. So this is the most recent drop or design from Garrett over at Bridgeport Knife Co. And this knife is in via the Lefty passaround group, and I've thoroughly enjoyed this knife. This was definitely high up on my list of wanting to check out when I signed up for it. And yeah, like I said, I've really enjoyed it. Now, before we jump into the review, I've been thinking to myself two things. Last review I did, I forgot to tally up the last, the full number of my review for the system, for the category, and I forgot to tell you guys about it. So I'm going to really try to not forget that. I think I've done that in 2 or 3 videos so far, so I apologize about that. And secondly, with the very first category of materials, or of the review with materials, I've been tying that into kind of price point, and I just want that to be a standalone category of what the materials are with the knife, not to price point, because that's more, I guess, of the price and value category at the end of the review. So I'm going to try to start doing that as well, keep them separate and just look at what the knife has to offer with materials in general. So I just thought about that, after I did my last review, and I want to kind of tweak that going forward. But yeah, this is Garrett's most recent offering, and it actually is still available on his website, which is very, very surprising. There's 2 different variations of this one. You have this one, and then you have the same version of this, just with a black wash blade and black hardware, same scales, same design, everything like that. And both are still available on the website. Like I said, I was very, very surprised to have seen that, because I figured, the 395 V2 sold out pretty quickly, I thought. So I was really expecting this one to be sold out as well, because this is kind of his first premium design. So I'm, again, very surprised. And if I had extra funds, floating around, I would definitely pick one of these up, because I really do like the knife, and I have, very much enjoyed getting to know it, carry it, and so on and so forth. So we're going to jump right into materials. You guys can see that this is a full titanium design. And it's a beauty. I really love it. I love this specific sort of, dark stone wash. To me, it reminds me of like a worker finish. Very prone, or not, very resistant to scratches and marks. And it just makes you want to use the knife and just, not beat it up, but it gives you that confidence of, not scratching the blade, or, if you get a snail trail on one of the scales, it's not a big deal. The blade is this beautiful sheep's foot style, with a very, very nice deep hollow grind hole for opening. You guys have back here a filler tab for the milled titanium pot clip that works and functions and looks very, very good. Of course, you have the frame lock, which is the FL part of the 1827 FL name. You have a lot of internal milling. The show scale has huge pockets milled out, and the frame lock side has 2 pretty good size ones. It's on bearings. To go along with the hole, you have a front flipper that works very well, jimping that goes up to the top there. Decent amount of jimping on the top. So it's considered a rough stone wash or a black wash, like I said, on the different variations. To me, that just means worker finish, but I really, really like it. Hologram, like I said, some specs for you guys. The blade length is 3.3 inches, so right in my sweet spot personally. Overall length of 7.5 inches. Handle thickness is 12 millimeters. Blade stock thickness is 3 millimeters. This is a 3D milled titanium clip, like I already said. And this is made by Kubi over in China. You guys already knew that. I don't know why it actually, because it says Kubi knives in China, but you guys all know where Kubi knives are. I don't know if I would get this one or the black wash one. Probably this one if I were to choose to get one myself, just because, again, I really like that stone wash and, sort of rugged finish. But 20 CV, milled tie, very lightweight. Actually, the weight's not on here, but it is very lightweight because of all the milling going on. Excuse me. Front flipper, great action. I guess I'm not tying in action, but for everything you get, I have to give it a 5 out of 5. It's a great package of materials, steel, opening methods, pot clip, things of that nature. So nothing to complain about. Next up, and I will leave a link to Bridgeport Knife Co. down below in the description. If you guys are interested, please go check out Garrett's stuff. I've reviewed the 395 prototype. I had the 395 V1 in. I missed the boat on the V2. I'm kind of mad at myself for that one. And like I said, if I had, you know, extra knife funds floating around, you know, that weren't already tied up in pre-orders and stuff like that, I would definitely pick one of these up because it's a really, really good knife. But his channel will be linked down below. If you guys are if you guys are interested, I highly suggest going and checking them out. But next up is aesthetic. I think this knife looks really good. I love a good sheep's foot blade. It's very simple. You know, you pretty much have a straight line from this point right here, the whole way back. Nice rounded edge back here. I like the roundedness of it instead of like a squared part. Straight back here, little finger indent right there, and then the nice belly of the sheep's foot. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. And closed, it looks very good too. You have that little front flipper peeking out of the top there. No clip on the back, looks good. Just a handsome looking knife. Very classy, but also very like, I'm ready to work. So it's kind of a nice blend of both. Next up is action. Now this is a passaround knife, so it's not gonna, you know, other people have played with it, fidgeted with it, flicked it, loosened it up for me, you know, kind of broken in for me. But it has a really, really good action. detent. Nice and snappy. It's not super loud, but thumb flick works really well. Takes a little bit of getting used to just because the hole is so, you know, skinny and kind of long, not, you know, wider, but works very well. Just flies right out of there. Middle finger flick works very well as well. It's a nice reverse flick. I always call it middle finger flick, but I guess reverse flick is just the better term for it, or Spidey flick. But just fires out of there. Now for the front flipper, it's nice because the detent is tuned well for both the hole methods and the front flipper methods, which, you know, it can be a miss on some knives if you don't get it tuned to be for both of them. So you can just switch back and forth and not even break a sweat. It's just nice, snappy. I like the way the front flipper is designed. You just have a, you know, a very nice landing area up there. You just pop it right over. You can do, actually the over top flip is kind of hard because you have that frame lock to put pressure on. So it's not the easiest. You can index finger flick it, and of course you can slow roll it. Now closing is good. It's a frame lock, so you know frame locks are never going to be like guillotine droppers. You guys can see drops to my nail, but then if I move the knife after removing my hand from the frame, you know, it won't shut or anything like that. But some micro shakes will do good. One big shake, some micro shakes. It's very, very smooth. No blade play at all. So again, it's going to be a 5. I know this is going to be a very positive review because it's just a very, very good knife. Not too much I can complain about it. Next up is acoustics. Now, for it being a full titanium knife with milling, making it lightweight and kind of having like those little nooks and crannies that sounds can get into on the inside, it doesn't really ting like titanium knives should or can. You know, I'm not saying it's a, you know, a bad, you know, noise. It's a nice, satisfying kind of thwack. But it's not like it's not blowing my socks off or anything like that. It's satisfying in its own way, but it's not fantastic. I've heard much better. So, but I've also heard much worse from titanium knives. So I don't know where to put this. I don't know if I should go 3.5 or 4. I'm gonna have to go 3.5. You know, it's a little bit dull for me. And that's really, I mean, if that's the one thing that I'm really nitpicking on this knife, that should say something to you guys. It's a very, very good knife. Next up is ergos. Spoiler alert, it's going to be good. Again, you know, harping back or, you know, going back to that simple design language that makes for, you know, usually when you have knives with simple lines, you know, clean, crisp, you know, corners, rounded edges, things of that nature. I guess those are kind of, you know, polar opposites of one another. But sometimes they work on knives. And those just tend to make for a really, really good, comfortable, you know, usable experience. and this is definitely up there. You know, you have jimping along probably a third of the blade right there. I can get all 4 fingers on this knife very easily without, you know, choking up and without having to kind of squish my hands on there. Just a nice neutral shape. My thumb lands right on the jimping, and the jimping's kind of that perfect blend of not being too aggressive, but not being like, that's what I'm looking for, smooth enough to where it's not really usable. Now you do have this choil. It's more of it's a choil, but it's kind of a little bit smaller of a choil. I would have loved to see maybe a little bit more, you know, rounded off here, but it's still comfortable. I would just definitely be very careful when you're using the choil because you are close enough to the edge of the blade there. So if you're gonna be doing push cuts, this works really good because you have a nice sturdy grip and you can just slowly do those cuts through cardboard. The pinch grip works really well, and of course this Wharncliffe, you have a lower tip, so just drop it right down into, you know, an Amazon package, slicing through around labels, things of that nature. The titanium is great, has, you know, great finishes to it with that worker finish. It kind of adds a little bit to it, but it's also smooth in the right way. Has a, you know, of course those rounded edges. Pot clip is very, very flush to the scale, so it's not really, I can't feel it at all, to be honest with you guys, with the, you know, the hotspot department. Reverse hammer grip. You can of course do this if you have to do some, you know, slushy fights at 7-Eleven on Saturday night with Kev. Works pretty well. You kind of have a nice little slicing hook right there. But Ergos is going to get a 5. Just very comfortable, very usable, and you know, I love knives like that. So next up is carry, and it carries well. I wish there was an absolute, you know, true weight given on it on the website, but there isn't. But again, all that milling, it works really, really well. The pot clip is nice. You know, you get a nice amount of retention. Sits flush. You have about, well, let's see here. You have about that much sticking up out of your pocket. So really just the screw. So nothing, you know, too bad at all. Carry it lefty or righty. And it's nice they give you this little filler plate if you're not carrying it on the opposite side. I've carried this primarily in jeans out of the house, but I have thrown this in gym shorts and sweatpants, you know, when I'm around the place doing different things. And it's even lightweight, just hanging out in your pocket, but it carries well in jeans. You know, if you have it in your pocket, you have nothing but smooth, you know, really nice, smooth, contoured areas and edges over here. If you happen to be down below it, getting changed, chapstick, you know, things like that. So you have no risk of possibly going down and then pulling the knife up out of your pocket when you pull things out of your pocket, which is really, really nice. Kind of, you know, gives you that reassuredness. But again, guys, 5s. You know, I don't, sometimes I don't like giving knives 5s upon 5s upon 5s because I give a lot of knives pretty good scores. But it just, you know, it's a true testament to how good this knife is, in my opinion. And then last up, of course, we have price and what I recommend this knife / value. So this knife costs on Garrett's website, bridgeportknifeco.com, $245. Now, I think that's a very fair price. I don't necessarily know if that's a good value because you can get full titanium knives with 20 CV, you know, with good detents, good actions, multiple ways of deploying the knife for well under $200 that I've seen. So while I think that's a fair price because you have to take into effect that Garrett is, you know, this is a small business. He's trying to get his business off the ground. So sometimes pre-orders and you know, drops like this from boutique brands are a little bit, you know, priced a little bit more. So again, I can't blame him. You know, I think $245 is a fair price. I would pay $245 for it. I think a lot of people would too. But I'm just saying, I don't think it's the best value for your money. It's still a good knife. It's still, you know, a good, you're still getting good materials for that price, but I think maybe closer to 200-ish, I think would be a better value. I hope that's making sense for you guys. I'm not trying to knock the price because again, I think it's very fair. I understand the meaning behind it, but I just don't think it's necessarily a good value. So hopefully you guys are able to distinguish, you know, what I'm trying to say. But for $245, you know, you're getting 20 CV, front flipper, frame lock, a hole for deployment that gives you great access for reverse flicks, and thumb flicks. You know, good closing action, nice 3D milled clip, great detent, just a really nice, beautiful blade with a deep hollow, great slicer, just a beautiful configuration in general. I love the whole dark stone wash finish. It looks really, really good. And it's, you know, a worker finish. It makes you want to go out, cut things, and not worry about scraping it up. So I can absolutely recommend this knife. I think if you guys are interested in the design, definitely go pick one up. I think this is Garrett's probably his best design yet, and I love the 395. I'm hoping he comes out with a V3 because I really do want another one of those knives. But, you know, I think this is arguably his best design. So I have to go 5 out of 5 on that one. No, let me say, okay, I'll quit doing the 5s. I'll do 4.5 because, again, although I think the knife is okay priced at $245, I don't think it's necessarily a good value, and I have to also apply that into the last score. So I'm going to get this added up real quick because I do not want to forget to tell you guys what the score is, but alrighty, so that was pretty easy math because I had a lot of 5s in there, but the Bridgeport Knife Co. 1827 FL comes in at a score of 33, which puts it in the fantastic category. That is the tied for the third highest knife I have reviewed so far in the year, and I think it's probably going to end up pretty high at the end of the year as well. Yeah, just a great knife, and I'm super happy to have gotten to check it out. Thank you to Kevin for putting this in the passaround. I think this is his personal knife that he got from Garrett that he ordered. Garrett, shout out to you, man. If you're still watching this, you make great knives, and I cannot wait to see what you have in the future. I do have his new bluff design that he did with Kubi. It's a Kubi knife, but Garrett designed it. And I really like the knife. I'm just having some issues when I took it apart with the whole, the washers with the little, I forget what the name is called, but like the little strip that you put on the washer. I think I lost it, and I'm just having trouble getting the knife to have good action. So hopefully I can try to maybe put some bearings in it or something of that nature, because I want to review that and get it out to you guys. And I want to carry the knife. I want to use it. It's kind of just been in my case since Christmas pretty much. But yeah, I'm not going to take up any more guys' time. This was my full review of the Bridgeport Knife Co. 1827 FL. So let me know down below. Did you guys pick one of these up? You know, have you had some other designs from Garrett? Basically the 395 V1 or the 395 V2. Let me know down below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. You guys can see my, so I'm going to quit being funny. I'm going to wrap it up now, but thank you guys again so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your morning, evening, day, night, whenever you're watching this, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.